Okay, the way that I have been skimpering around out in the New Mexican desert the past hour in sandals, mind you. I don't know why I decided to put on sandals. I almost got pricked by a cactus a few times, but we are okay. I also am wearing a white dress, which probably, again, was not the best idea. But we are here, we are set up, and we are ready to go. And today we are going to be talking about why I left my six-figure paying job to travel cross country full time, which may sound a bit crazy, especially when I say it out loud. There's definitely nerves there, but there's also excitement, and I think that that is one of the greatest human experiences of all, to be both nervous and excited at the same time. And I definitely feel that way right now, recording this first episode. I definitely have nerves, but there's also excitement. I'm also out of breath because, again, I just trekked for 30 minutes through the desert in sandals and a dress to get to this lovely view right here. But it was worth it. I'm a little bit shaky though, because I definitely struggle with public speaking. But right now, all I have with me are the mountains and the earth and the wind and the sun. And that's all the audience that I need at the moment. And that brings me peace. A lot of it is going to be me just getting used to speaking in front of a camera. But you have to start somewhere. And if you put off starting for too long, then you're never going to start, because you're just going to get in your head and you're going to want it to be perfect. And guess what? Starting anything is never going to be perfect. It's going to be messy, and you're going to have to get your hands and your feet dirty. I say as my feet are literally covered in dirt and sand right now. But yeah, so let's get into it. I think that this first video diary, I really want to focus around the concept of change and how scary change can be sometimes. Even just sitting here and recording this episode is a big change for me, because I've been saying that I was going to do this for about 10 years now, and I'm 27 now. I first started saying it when I was around, I don't even know, in high school. And I've never actually done it. So this is a big thing for me. But there is this ancient Chinese proverb that I heard the other day, and it said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And I think that a lot of us put off creative endeavors because we feel that we've been saying we were going to do it for a long time now, and if we had done it when we first said it, then it would already be in full bloom. And we have to start now with getting our hands dirty at, for me, 27 years old. But you have to start sometime, and I think that now is the time, for me at least. Getting into how I ended up in New Mexico in the first place is a bit of an intricate and insane story. Yeah, I was in a six-figure paying job for the last 4 years. Started during COVID, and it was all on the internet. It was all remote, which I am very grateful for. But there was one day that I woke up and I realized I was not happy anymore. I was really not happy anymore. It had gotten to the point that every day that I woke up, I felt like I was selling a piece of my soul in order to make money and to make revenue. And I just really was not in alignment anymore with what I truly wanted to be doing. And sometimes when you're not in alignment, you don't know what that thing is that you truly want to be doing. And that's okay. And I didn't know what it was that I truly wanted to be doing. All I knew was that what I was doing was not working. And sometimes that is the first step and the first piece of acknowledgement that you need to make in order to bring forth change. And that's a really fucking scary thing. it's really scary and it's really hard, and you want to stay in the familiar because the familiar makes sense and the familiar has worked in the past. But sometimes you have to see that the familiar is slowly killing you on the inside, and that is what it was doing to me. Now, there's this quote that I really like. The quote goes, "Growth is painful, change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong." And I didn't belong there anymore. And to go full into storytelling mode, essentially what happened was I was in that job for 4 years, and my husband and I, we went to Hawaii to visit my sister who was currently attending school there. And it was very beautiful. It was an amazing trip. The culture was unlike any I'd ever experienced before, obviously, coming from the United States. And when we got back, I just was thinking to myself, I really want to continue traveling, but I had no idea how I was going to do that. One, I have 2 large pit bulls that are they're rescues. They're fearful and they have reactivity. So that in itself was this big blockage for me. And then the second was we were already on track to signing a lease at the home that we currently were renting for another year. And I had worked very hard to stay on these landlords' good side and good graces, which was definitely a lot of people pleasing and was not the healthiest. But that's for a whole other episode. And I just felt like I really wanted to stay in this home. I really loved this home. The land was just so peaceful and so magical. But I just had this whisper of, you should get on the road and you should travel. And essentially that night I was feeling that way. And I was like, there's no way that I can do this though. The universe, God, what have you, whatever you want to call it, I think heard that little doubt that I had in my head, and they said, okay, girl, sit down and buckle up because we have something for you. The next morning I wake up and I mind you, I have COVID. I had gotten COVID from traveling on the airplane. I just have a horrible immune system. So I wake up, I have tissue paper stuffed in my nose. I'm snotty. I don't feel good. My husband comes into the bedroom and he says, "Did you read the text?" And I said, "What text?" And he said, "The text from," I'm just going to call her A, our landlord, A. And I said, "No, what was the text?" And he said, "Go look at it." And I go and I look at the text and it says, "Good morning. Just want to let you know that we're not renewing the lease with you anymore. Good luck," essentially. We had, mind you, 2 months to find a new place. And 2 big dogs, pit bulls, which is very hard to find places that will rent out to you. And so I was just like, honestly, I wasn't as devastated as I thought I would be. Because I had this whisper of an idea to start traveling. And so I told my husband, and that was a whole thing in itself to convince him to get on the road with me with 2 large pit bulls. But we had many conversations about it, and I think that sometimes it's just about planting the seeds. You don't have to make the huge, crazy decision overnight. It took us about a month to really go back and forth and think about it and just really sit with the idea. And sometimes sitting with the idea is the only thing that you can do. The fact that you're acknowledging the idea and you're allowing it to come forth. And so that's what we did. We gave space to the idea to come forth and see if it's something that we wanted to bring into fruition. And we decided that we did. And that was a very big and scary decision. And around that time, I also decided to leave my job. That was 2 big, crazy, insane, scary changes at the same time. Really scary. My biggest fear the whole time that I had the job was losing the job. I had very bad job insecurity. But once I made that decision to leave, it was very liberating. I don't know if you see the little bee. It was very liberating, but it was also at the same time extremely terrifying. And sometimes some of the most exciting, liberating, life-changing decisions that we make are the most terrifying and scary decisions to us. And so I really had to trust that if I leapt, the net would essentially appear for me, because I still have no idea what I'm doing. We are 6 months in now, and all I know is that what I was doing wasn't working, and what I am doing now is. But let me stop you right there. Because you might think, oh, well, so now you're traveling cross country. La, 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 it's so fun. Oh, my goodness, she's having such a great time. She's seen all of the states, and it's so beautiful and amazing. Look at the landscape around her. No, it has been the most hard and difficult 6 months of my entire life. I will, fully and straight up say that. And the amount that I've learned in the past 6 months has been more than I have learned in the past 6 years of my life. And sometimes when you make those changes, it is followed by insane, crazy, unprecedented chaos. And I don't say that to scare you. There's actually a quote by Deepak Chopra, and it goes, "All great changes are preceded by chaos." And I want you to really hone in on all great changes. Because when you change something in your life, it's going to help to bring forward and make space for what's next. But in order to bring forward what's next, you have to clear out all the bullshit that currently is residing within your internal and external space. And that is what happened this past 6 months. I've been clearing out a lot of internal and external bullshit that has been both in my internal and external space. You can see this in nature as well. If you look at indigenous cultures and tribes, and also park rangers as well, and how we've been doing controlled burns for wildfires, the indigenous tribes have been doing it for much longer than the park rangers. We do that to bring forth new space for growth, for new plants and new vegetation. But we also do it so that we can get ahead of a crazy, insane wildfire that we have absolutely no control over. And that's why it's called a controlled wildfire burn. Now, a lot of people like to say tower moment, so they'll say you're having your tower moment right now in tarot. And so essentially, if you are in the tower, you can either choose to jump out yourself, or you can choose to sit and watch it all crumble around you. I like to look at it as the wildfire burn as well too, because you can choose to do a controlled wildfire burn, or you can just let it get so out of hand that everything starts burning down around you and you have absolutely no control over it whatsoever. And sometimes that is what has to happen, and sometimes we do have to have that crazy wildfire moment. But I was able to see myself in that job, in that industry, and say to myself, this is just not for me anymore. I really was struggling mentally, physically, spiritually. It was not in alignment with me. And to get into what it was that I did as my job, I was in, and we can do a little drum roll please, the spicy filmmaking industry, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. It was something that I got into during COVID, during lockdown, when I was very young, and I kind of got sucked into it. I ended up being managed by a very predatory agency that took advantage of a lot of young women. A lot of money was stolen, and it wasn't until around 2 years ago that I chose to leave that agency and work with an agency that was more ethical and woman-run and owned. But I still had to make the content, I still had to do the things, and it just was literally killing me on the inside. And I think that for some women, it is extremely uplifting and empowering for them to be in that industry. But girl, it was not that for me. I will say that much. It was very debilitating and very, I don't know, what's the opposite word of empowering? Not empowering. And I think a large part of that was that I did get signed with a very predatory agency from the get-go. And so it was very hard for it to be empowering for me because I was working for men that gave me content orders and controlled everything that I said and everything that I did. And yeah, it was just a really insane time of my life. But guess what? That was a part of my journey, and that is the path that I walked. And sharing it with you is definitely scary because it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be vulnerable when your past is intertwined with something that is seen as taboo in society nowadays. There's definitely more open-mindedness to it now than there was before, but there are still people that are going to judge me for that. If you speak your truth, your people will find you. And if you personally are watching this right now and that's something that doesn't resonate with you and you feel uncomfortable by that, then you are given the grace and the permission to click off this video. But that is my path and that is my truth, and I don't have any shame around it. I really don't. I'm actually very grateful for it because it taught me a lot about advocacy for myself, especially as a young woman in this world, and also about people pleasing because the whole time that I was being taken advantage of and I was getting money stolen from me, I was like, yes, keep doing it, like la la la, like I just wanted them to like me, and I wanted to keep my job, and I wanted to be the perfect employee for them. And then my accountant, shout out to Jeff, he pulled me aside and he said, you know what? You need to leave this agency. I see how much money they're pulling in, and I see how much money you're getting, and I've seen, the stats, the numbers, and they are stealing a lot of money from you. And then he connected me with one of my dear friends now who runs the agency that I signed with afterwards. I just got out of the shower and I was just thinking, also my eyes are super watery. I don't know why they're so watery right now, but I think it's because I've been staring at the screen for so long editing the video. But I just wanted to go a little bit more in depth about my situation with deciding to leave and what that looked like, because it definitely did look, and it does look different than leaving a normal job, because it wasn't a normal job. Oh my god, I don't know why I'm like so snotty and teary right now. I also just ate some spicy food. That might be why, but yeah, it does look different, and I want to be fully transparent about that because I want to be as transparent and open as possible on this channel. When I first went to the agency to tell them, I can't do this anymore, I remember hopping on that call, my voice literally shaking, like my hands were shaking, my voice was shaking. I felt like I was gonna cry because it felt so like such a raw moment of me opening up to her and being like, I can't do this anymore. Like I'm literally like feel like I'm dying inside every single time that I take out this camera to record myself. And she said to me, Cameron, like, you don't have to do this anymore. Like you have full agency to stop. And what we're going to do is we're just going to run these accounts into the ground. Because the accounts do still exist and there are still like paying members on them. So I am fortunate enough to be able to have income each month still, even though it doesn't look anything like it looked like when I still was like actively creating content. I was at the point that I could have continued following on that path and I could have continued making that money for the foreseeable future, for my future and as a career. But I decided like I would rather just like maybe make some good money for a year or so, and then it probably will dwindle off. I'm so blessed and so grateful that I can still have that money as those accounts are getting run into the ground currently. But I just wanted to be fully transparent about that, and that it looks different than what it would be if it were a regular job where I go and I clock in from 9 to 5 and I get paid for the work that I do that day. We're just seeing how long it will last without me creating fresh content anymore. And we don't know how long that will be. And that's what she told me when we were on that call. She was like, I can't promise you that this is going to be here 1 year from now. And that was really hard for me because that was me deciding, like, okay, with me, the person that was like always so scared of losing my job and so scared of things blowing up in my face or the income just stopping suddenly, like just horrible. I lived in a constant state of scarcity and scarcity mindset. I just hit that breaking point of like, all right, like it may blow up in my face and it may all be gone from 6 months from now. All of the stuff that was run for that page, like I haven't logged in or touched or looked at those in the past 6 months, and I just have like her team like just recycle content on there. I have fears about a lot of this and putting myself out there and even just saying what it is that I did and what that looked like and how it does look different. I don't have a degree. I don't have anything, any qualifications, any other work experience. Like that's literally what I did from like for the past like almost 5 years. And I'm 27 now, and I don't really have much under my belt or much to show for myself. It's a very weird situation, and I just really want to be as transparent and open about that as possible. And I'm just hoping that in me choosing to walk away from that, hopefully that is clearing out space for something new to come in. And I'm just on the journey of figuring out what that is. So anyways, I just wanted to give that little disclaimer. God, my nose. It's too late for me to be having these deep talks right now. And from there, I that's a whole other story that I will get into in terms of getting the money stolen from me, how I got into that industry, what it looked like. There was like the most insane, crazy drama that unfolded during that time, especially when we realized that money was being stolen from me. But all of that being said, it was not in alignment with me. I always knew that it was not in alignment with me. And I think that a lot of the times when we are doing something that is not in alignment, deep down we know. And deep down you know. But it's a whisper of a thought. And sometimes you really have to pull at that whisper to tell it, I see you and I hear you and I can see that this isn't working anymore. But a lot of the times we choose to ignore it. I think that that whisper is our truest, most authentic self. And most authentic self of being. Most authentic being. You get what I'm trying to say. And it's really hard to be authentic in this world and to be truly yourself. Even just me getting in front of this camera and saying what I did as a career before this, that's very hard for me, but that is authentically the path that I have walked. And everybody has their own path that they've walked. And we have these moments that authentic self comes through and tells us, this is not feeding you anymore. This is not feeding you any longer. You're not being nourished by this. If anything, it's actually taking nourishment away from you. And I remember when I sat down and I made the decision to leave, I wrote down a list of all of the things that fill my cup. And I promised myself that I was going to start implementing those things in my day-to-day life. Because a lot of the time, we choose to do things that just take. And by the time we go to pour our own cup, we realize that there's only a few drops left in it. And I've made it my mission now to really put myself first and to do the things that fill me with joy and fill me with fulfillment. Fill me with fulfillment, baby. That's my saying. I guess that's my saying. This is the first time I said it, but you know what? I'm going to take it. I'm going to run with it. Fill me with fulfillment. Again, it's a very hard thing to do because you have to walk away from a lot of things in order to adequately fill your own cup. But in doing so, you are walking your most authentic path. And there's this quote by Brené Brown, and it says, authenticity is not something we have or don't have. It's a practice, a conscious choice of how we want to live. Authenticity is a collection of choices that we make every single day, in every single moment. It's about the choice to show up and be real. the choice to be honest, and the choice to let our true selves be seen. We love that, Brene. I really think that it is a conscious choice, and everybody has it inherently within themselves to walk an authentic path. But we live in a society that it's a very scary thing to do, and it's walking in a way off the path. It's creating your own path. I was on Pinterest this morning and I saw this quote, and it said, "I make my own journey." And I truly do believe that. There's this very popularized narrative called the hero's journey. It was first popularized by Joseph Campbell. And essentially what it is if you look at majority of stories in mythology and folklore, there's somewhat of a template that they all follow. And the template is what he ended up coining the hero's journey. And a lot of people have found that this template exists within real people's lives and real people's narratives. And it's not an easy journey or an easy path to walk, but it is the most rewarding path. And it can be scary, and you're going to stumble and you're going to fall and you're going to eat shit along the way. But it is the path where you are truly following your inner call and your inner purpose, even if that means deciding to travel cross country for the next year and clearing out all of the internal and external bullshit in your life. And guess what? I'm still going through it. So I just want to make that clear too. This is not going to be some super put together, picture perfect podcast video diary. I don't even know what to call this at this point. I'm not going to be perfect. The setups are not always going to be perfect. It's going to be messy, and that's okay because I'm messy, and I'm giving myself permission to be messy while making these. And even as I'm speaking right now, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to even make sense, but it's the fact that I'm coming out here and I'm trying, because my past 6 months have been extremely messy and extremely up and down and full of turmoil, honestly, but also full of love and beauty and crazy epiphanies and realizations and growth and healing. But healing is not easy, and healing is not linear. And once you choose to walk this path, it's not going to be perfect. And so this video diary, so just a heads up. The hero's journey usually comes in a few different steps. And the first step is a call to action. And that's the hero realizing that something is off in their life. It's that whisper that comes to you every now and then, telling you to try something new, giving you inspiration, asking you to make that big, bold decision in life. And of course, the second part of it is refusal of the call, which a lot of us tend to do. And I will fully admit, I refused the call for 4 to 5 years. It was almost 5 years that I was in that industry, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And I just kept, knock, knock, who's there? Destiny. No, not right now. I'm okay, actually. That was me. I would shut the door in Destiny's face and I would say, talk to you later. Maybe come to me in 2 to 3 years. And that's okay too, because not everybody's ready and everybody has their own time to make that decision. Oops, excuse me. Okay, my camera just, I don't know, it just turned off for a second. It really scared me. Anyway, we're back. I swear to God. I'm very allergic to bees. Okay, it's just a fly, it's fine. Okay, so then it's crossing the threshold, deciding to make that decision, and deciding to embark upon change. And again, you don't have to make the decision overnight. Sometimes it takes time. Oh my God, these bees are going crazy. Sometimes it takes time, and that's okay. It's okay for it to take time, and it's okay if you're just slowly rolling the ball up the hill at this point and holding space for the idea of, hey, I may want to change this thing in my life. Again, ours was a little bit of a shit show in terms of how it happened, just because the lease did end and we had 2 months to figure everything out, and it did feel like my brain had fully fallen out of my head and just ate shit on the ground in front of me. But that was just my journey, and that's how things unfolded for me. Personally, sometimes the universe, I feel like, puts me on these fast tracks, whether I like it or not. And that may happen to you. It may be this really quick, insane change because of something external that's going on in your life, or it may be this quiet force that slowly plants its seeds within you, and you can slowly watch those come to fruition. And each path is just as valid as the next one. And I will say that crossing the threshold is always a little bit, or a lot of it, exciting, because you're deciding to make that change. You've made the decision and you can feel like you're on top of the world. I remember when we decided we were going to travel cross country, I was like, oh my God, like I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing that everybody says that they want to do and they never do it. We're going to be hitting the road and it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a great adventure. And I just remember, of course, being nervous, but also being so excited. And we need that excitement to propel us forward. We need it because it's that motivation to start. And again, that excitement doesn't come overnight. It may take time for you to get to that point. It may take a whisper in your head before you fully hit that point of, okay, I'm doing it. And then it's that adrenaline of, oh my God, I'm actually doing it. It can go any way for any person, but usually following that excitement, there are tests, there are allies, there are enemies, and there is retreating within the innermost cave of yourself. And that's how the narrative goes in the hero's journey. It's tests, allies, enemies, and then the innermost cage. Cave. Sometimes it feels like a cage, honestly. And that's what happened to us. I will say that the first 3 months... I don't even know why I said 3 months. It's literally been like the last 6 months, bitch. After making that change, I fully went into the innermost cave of the deepest, darkest depths of my soul. And it was very hard, and there was a lot that needed to be cleared out. And again, it's different for everybody. Just know that it's okay that if after you make that change and things don't go perfectly and your life isn't amazing all of a sudden because you finally made the change and you finally did the thing, that's perfectly normal. Because again, all great changes are preceded by chaos. Again, all great changes. It is a tumultuous, hard path to walk. It can be. But there are also really amazing, incredible ups and downs. And I say incredible because sometimes the downs are incredible because there are amazing lessons that are hidden within them. Okay, so I wanted to hop on here real quick because I just was inside and I heard this poem on this Instagram reel that I was listening to, and I thought that it resonated very deeply, and I felt like this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't share it. So the poem is called Lost, and it's by David Wagner, and it says, "If you feel lost, stand still. The trees ahead and bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. You must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen. It answers. I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again, saying here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you." Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. I am going to say, as I'm unpacking it, sometimes things make sense up here, and then I try to say them out here, and it just sounds like, I don't even me try to come up with a word for confusing, I guess. But anyway, hopefully with time I can become clearer with my words and articulating what's up here. But I think that sometimes when you embark upon change and you uplift everything in your life, things can look so confusing around you because all of a sudden the familiar is gone and you have plunged head first into the unknown. And I think that this poem resonates because it's saying that even if your surroundings seem unfamiliar and seem unknown and you may feel lost, you are walking the path that is meant for you and everything is unfolding correctly. But it may feel like things are completely up in the air and like you're fully free falling and you have no idea what up from down, left from right, because all of a sudden you've embarked upon change, and with change comes unfamiliar territory. And I like this poem because it says, "The trees ahead and bushes beside you are not lost. So you may feel lost, and it may be very confusing and be very scary, but everything that is going on around you is unfolding perfectly, and you just have to bring yourself back to the present moment, plant your feet on the ground, sit back, lean into." And then there's this other quote, and it says, "Enjoy the process of becoming," because sometimes you can feel you're on that path. It's super confusing. You have no idea what's going on, and you just keep looking forward and keep waiting for the opening in the bushes and the opening in the wilds of your mind of, okay, things make sense now. Okay, I am healed now. Okay, I have succeeded in this path. And sometimes we get so focused on the future that we completely forget about the now and the here. And the poem emphasizes that, but also the quote of enjoying the process of becoming and enjoying the process of being lost and of figuring it out and of free falling, because that in and of itself can be so beautiful and so rich and so sweet. But sweet but I think really just continuing to bring ourselves back into our bodies and not be so focused up here as we are walking that unfamiliar path, and looking around us, looking at our surroundings, looking at the trees around us, looking at the dirt beneath our feet, looking at the sky above, and realizing and acknowledging that everything that is happening around me may feel really scary and may feel like this huge, crazy, confusing free fall, but it is all here for a reason. And everything around me is not lost. It's just that I'm feeling lost. The path is leading me somewhere. I just have no idea where that somewhere is. Anyway, I hope that all made sense, and I hope that it resonated. Damn, girl. She's coming to play. But sometimes that innermost cave can be very, very scary, because sometimes you have monsters and demons in there that you do not want to look at. But my therapist, Annika, shout out to Annika, she said to me, "You have completely turned your life upside down within 2 months. You literally like pulled the carpet up, shook it up, and then left the house." And when you do that, you are just making so much space for all of the creepy crawlies that were hiding under that rug for so long. And once you flip it upside down, you can finally see, oh my God, there are so many areas of my life that are not working right now. And again, that can be a very scary ordeal, but it's something that you'll get through. And in order to get through it, you got to go through it. I am going through it, and that's okay. And there was a part of me that didn't want to start these video diaries until I'd gotten out to the other end. And I was just thinking to myself, and why wouldn't I start now when I'm still going through it? Because the amount of wisdom that I've learned in the past 6 months is absolutely otherworldly, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I really, truly wouldn't. It has been hard. There's been a lot of tears shed, but it has been my journey, and I make my journey, bitch. I really do. I really did that. I really am sitting in New Mexico with the mountains and the Santa Fe National Forest behind me. There are mountain lions out here, so hopefully we're good. But if I had told myself that I would be doing this 7 months ago, I'd be like, no, you fucking wouldn't, bitch. You need your home. You need your stability. You need your space. I was always that person that was like, I need to have everything around me in order. I need to have my comfy, cozy home. And now I'm in a new place every single month. I'm learning to find that stability within myself, and finding peace in the chaos is one of the biggest lessons in change as well. Because again, chaos usually does precede change, because with change comes healing and comes growth, and healing and growth is messy. But learning to find that stillness within all the craziness has been one of my biggest lessons. And it wasn't until these past 2 months that I started to feel that lightness come back and feel that motivation and that oomph for life come back to me. And that's just a part of the journey. And that's kind of where I'm at right now in terms of the hero's journey. I am coming out of the cave slowly but surely. I'm peeking my way out of it. My camera overheated. Took a moment, let her cool off, but I think that in the camera shutting off, it was telling me, all right, bitch, you've been yapping on for a little bit too long now. It's time to sign off. Hopefully I can piece this together somehow. And again, this is going to be messy. It's not going to be perfect. I'm in New Mexico for a few more weeks, and then we're going to be in Joshua Tree, California. So the next time you see me, I'll probably be there. So I'm going to be all over the place. My mind is going to be all over the place. But I'm excited to take you along with me on this journey. I'm still a little lost, a little bit confused, but I'm making my way. And you'll be able to too. And I think I'll leave it at that. Love ya!